During a family dinner, my rich grandfather hugged me and said, "Grandson, hope you're enjoying your $7,000 a month allowance." I stood there stunned and replied, "I'm working 3 jobs and haven't seen a penny." When I pulled up the statements, every transfer had gone to my sister since 2019. The room went quiet. But the call I got from the bank at 9:14 p.m. changed everything. Can you imagine busting your ass, working 3 jobs, barely making ends meet, only to discover a secret allowance meant for you had been funneled straight to someone else in your family for years? And what if, just as you found out, they tried to take everything? My name's Owen, I'm 30. And my life used to be a spreadsheet called breathing. Seriously. For tabs, rent, food, gas, surprise. Every damn month, surprise one. I was juggling 3 jobs. Mornings loading trucks, afternoons fixing office chairs, nights doing food delivery. Rent, man, it's allergic to single incomes. I lived in a studio apartment above a nail salon, next to a bus stop that side all night. My tool bag was my best friend, always in the trunk. I was doing everything I could to just stay afloat. My sister, Sabrina, she's 27. She was always the favored one, you know? Like a plant strategically placed for the best sun. She's building a brand. Mom calls it pastel blazers and unboxing videos. Sabrina speaks in affirmations. If she's late on a bill, it's the universe's timing. If I was late, it was because I was too rigid to ask for help. Then there's Granddad. Arthur King. Yes, like the joke. And he actually has money. He started with one hardware store and built this whole empire of rentals and storage units. The man wears old boots but a watch that could buy a car. Holidays at his place were wild, paper plates and crystal glasses all on the same table. Last Friday, we had one of those family dinners. Long table, roast chicken, green beans swimming in butter. Cousins everywhere, kids everywhere. I walked in straight from the warehouse, grease under my nails no matter how hard I scrubbed. Granddad hugged me at the door, and then, loud enough for everyone to hear, he boomed, "Grandson, hope you're enjoying your $7,000 a month allowance." My brain just stopped. My what? My allowance? He repeated it, casual as talking about the weather. Started it in 2019 for you and Sabrina. $7,000 each monthly to give you a runway. I just stood there, holding a casserole dish I hadn't been able to afford to make, completely forgetting how my hands even worked. I laughed. Because what else do you do? "I'm working 3 jobs," I said, the words feeling utterly hollow. "I've never seen a single cent." Someone dropped a fork. The clink echoed like a gunshot. Mom, who was at the stove, turned and frowned at me like I'd just ruined a meticulously planned play. "Don't start, Owen," she snapped. "Your grandfather is trying to have a nice evening." Sabrina made this little cooing noise, then touched Granddad's sleeve. "He knows how Owen is," she said softly, like a nurse comforting a patient. "He doesn't like taking help." "I love taking help," I blurted, too fast. "I just never met it." Granddad's eyebrows slowly furrowed. "What do you mean you never met it?" My hands were shaking, but I pulled out my phone. My banking app? A graveyard of tiny amounts. I opened an old email, one I'd finally dug up last month after sifting through 3 old inboxes. It was from his foundation. I scrolled to disbursements, and there it was. Every line item, monthly support recipient, O. King. And beneath that, routing updated per coordinator. And then, a masked account number. Ending in 4 digits I recognized. Because I'd Zelled that number 50 times over the years. Sabrina's. I passed him the phone. "Granddad, he's not a fast reader. He's a thorough one." I watched his face. He looked up at me, his eyes wide. "Is this a joke?" "No," I said, the words cutting. "I've been paying for my tires with store-brand cereal. If this is a joke, it's very immersive." He set the phone down like it was burning his fingers. The room went silent, like when a teacher walks in unexpectedly. Mom reached for the phone, but I didn't let her have it. Sabrina smoothed her hair, trying to sound light. "I thought we weren't doing money talk tonight." "I thought we weren't doing rerouting," I shot back, my voice surprising even me with its calm. Granddad stood up. "Who changed the routing?" Arthur, sit down. Mom pleaded. We're not Sabrina, he said. Not loud. But the word landed like a weight. She held up her palms. Okay, everyone take a breath. This was a misunderstanding. The coordinator said it was easier if the household had one landing place. What household? I asked. Family, she said, as if that one word was a receipt. Granddad looked at me. When did you find this out? 30 seconds ago, I said, then corrected myself, because honesty is a stubborn habit. I suspected a month ago. I asked for the statements. Today they came. The room had that frozen, braced feeling right before a storm hits. My little cousin Chloe whispered, "What's an allowance?" Her dad shushed her immediately. Someone turned the TV on mute, like pictures of a baseball game would make it all go away. Dinner tried to restart. It didn't. I ate 2 green beans. They tasted like paper. Then, at 9:14 p.m., my phone buzzed. It was a number with the bank's area code. I almost let it go, I didn't want any more noise. But I picked up. "Mr. King," a voice said. "This is Lydia from Franklin Trust. We're calling to verify a beneficiary change and an outbound wire request on your family account. It's marked urgent. Do you authorize?" "Stop," I said, staring across the table at my sister, who was pretending to cut a dessert that didn't need cutting. "Tell me the name on the request." She told me. It wasn't mine. And I knew right then, whatever was about to happen wasn't going to be quiet anymore. This whole mess, it didn't start with a foundation or a bunch of zeros. It started with "for now." When I was 12, Sabrina stole change from my desk for lip gloss. Mom said, "She's learning." When I wanted it back, I got a lecture about sharing. At 16, I got a beat-up Honda by working weekends at Granddad's storage lot. I changed my own oil, kept receipts in a shoebox. I liked the feeling of proof. Sabrina got Mom's old SUV for her 17th. Girls need safety, Mom said. When she hit a pole 2 months later. It happens. When I scratched my bumper. "You're reckless, Owen." College? Not in the cards for me. I did a semester at community college, then real life called. I drove forklifts. I learned the weight of a pallet by how my back complained. Sabrina tried 3 majors, then took a year off to discover herself, then content creation. Which is a job and not a job, depending on who you ask. Money in our house was a weather pattern. When Sabrina had a need, clouds parted. When I had one, I was told to carry an umbrella. I remembered the night in 2019. Granddad took us to dinner, so proud, announcing the allowances. A runway, he called it. "So you don't break your backs on the first rungs like I did." Mom beamed. Sabrina cried, posted a photo with #gratitude. I went home and added a line to my breathing spreadsheet, "If this is real." I didn't put a number, it felt like hoping out loud. The first month, nothing. I told myself delay. Second month, nothing. Third, nothing. I texted Mom. "Hey, did Granddad?" She cut me off. "Don't bother him. He's busy." Also, Sabrina's swamped. "Can you help her move boxes?" I moved the boxes. The foundation sent quarterly emails about impact reports. I never got them because the coordinator had an old college email for me, one I hadn't used since the password died. Sabrina said, "I'll forward the important stuff." Nothing important ever made it to me. Meanwhile, my life was just math. Groceries after 9 p.m. when the store marked down meat. Oil changes in my friend's driveway. New shoes only when the soul waved hello. I took a second job because surprise kept winning. Then a third because gas started acting like a subscription service. I wasn't ashamed. I was tired. Like a job. Sabrina called me hustle culture like it was a slur. She'd wave a hand. You could scale if you stopped thinking small. Then she'd ask if I could front the security deposit for her new place because an Airbnb collab fell through. And Mom would say, "Owen, be generous. Your sister is building something that helps all of us." I helped. I bought Aunt Diane's prescription when her card failed. I Venmo'd Mom for bridge groceries. I Zelled Sabrina just until Friday, like Friday was a person we were all going to meet someday. I told myself this was community. Then I went back to the warehouse and stacked boxes that didn't care about my narrative. The first real clue hit me in April. A letter with my name on it, arrived from Franklin Trust. Annual beneficiary certification. It said, "Please confirm your contact information for your monthly distribution." My distribution. I called the number. A polite voice said, "We show you as active since January 2019. I laughed. A hollow, disbelieving laugh. "Cool," I said. "Where is it?" She said, "It appears the routing was updated by your family coordinator, Mrs. King, that's Mom, to a household account." My stomach dropped so fast I had to sit down. I thanked the stranger and called Mom. "Hey," I said. "We need to talk about something logistical." "I'm at Pilates," she said, as if that were an answer. "You rerouted my allowance," I stated. She sighed. "Such an ugly word, Owen. You didn't need it. You said you were fine." I put it where it could do the most good. The most good for who? For the family. Sabrina was launching. "You know, you're stable. And your grandfather said it was for you and your sister." That, Mom, that matters. It matters that I never agreed. It matters that you never told me. "You and your little contracts," she scoffed. "You've always been so rigid." I hung up before I said something I couldn't reel back. I called the foundation again, asked them to put my current email on file. "We need approval from your coordinator," they said. "Or from the grantaire." The grantaire was Granddad. I didn't call him that night. He was still in my head, the man who taught me to check oil, who promised I wouldn't need to break my back as much as he had. I wasn't ready to tell him that the people in between had built a toll booth with my name on it. So, I did what I always do when I need to be brave later. I collected proof. I requested statements. I pulled my credit report. I checked every old inbox. I found threads. So many threads. Routing updated. Glad it's streamlined now. Household wins. Messages from the coordinator, cheerfully confirming changes I never saw, with a CC to Mom and Sabrina. Never to me. My name was in the subject lines like a sticker on a box I didn't get to open. At the same time, Sabrina's life on the internet looked like the allowance was working brilliantly. New laptop, new phone, a trip where the tag said #worktrip, but the photos screamed #pool day. A post about honoring the grind with a bag that cost a month of my rent. I stopped looking because I don't hate my sister, and I was starting to. Then the dinner happened. Granddad's hug. That sentence that landed like it came with an invoice. "Hope you're enjoying your $7,000 a month allowance." The room went quiet around my answer. I showed him the statement with the masked account. His mouth went thin. After a few terrible bites of what wasn't really dinner, my phone lit up with the bank's number. The voice said, "We're calling to verify a beneficiary change and an outbound wire request on your family account. It's marked urgent." I asked who. She said Sabrina's Social LLC, a name I recognized from her invoices and, ironically, a tote bag. Here's the other piece nobody knew. My allowance wasn't the only thing Granddad set up. There was a maturity clause. On my 30th birthday last Tuesday, the principal of my portion became eligible for a one-time distribution if I requested it in writing. I hadn't requested it. Someone else had. So when Lydia from the bank asked, "Do you authorize a wire for $250,000 to Sabrina's Social LLC?" I said no. And then I said, "Freeze everything tied to my SSN pending in-house fraud review." I looked up from the phone at my family, who had somehow started a conversation about pie, and I thought, if I keep treating this like weather, I will drown. Granddad called a quick family meeting in his library, like this was a sitcom and not a slow-motion crash. Books, leather chairs, a fireplace nobody ever uses. Mom sat with her arms crossed, bristling. Sabrina checked her phone, volume up, so every buzz landed like a taunt. I stood, because sitting makes me feel smaller than my sentence. Granddad held the statements I'd printed. "This says," he tapped the page, "that every monthly distribution listed as O. King has gone to an account ending in 4187 since March 2019. Administrative simplification," Mom declared, like she was testifying before a committee. "We used a household account. Everything was shared." "I wasn't," I said. "You were," she snapped. "You just didn't notice because you were so busy." Sabrina jumped in. "I kept receipts. Rent when I was starting. Equipment. Flights to conferences. It wasn't like I bought shoes. She was wearing shoes I'd seen on the internet for the price of a motorcycle payment. Granddad turned to me. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Because of 1,000 small reasons that sounded silly out loud, I said, my voice thick. Because I thought it would make me look greedy. Because Mom made my mouth feel like a courtroom where I was always about to be held in contempt. Because I didn't want to be the problem. Because I was busy trying to survive. I didn't know I finished, not really, until I did. He nodded once, like a judge who already knows the verdict. He pulled up Lydia's number on his phone, put it on speaker. We need to cancel any beneficiary change requests and reverse any unauthorized wires, he said. Effective now. Lydia was efficient. We've placed a temporary hold on the outbound. We'll need written confirmation from the grantor and the beneficiary. We'll also need to verify coordinator permissions. Mom sat forward, her eyes wide. Arthur, don't be theatrical. This is family. This is money, he countered, his voice steady. And money makes most families worse. Sabrina's smile cracked. You're going to humiliate me over a misunderstanding? You've been undermining your brother in installments for 5 years, he said, still not raising his voice. Mom tried one last angle. Owen never asked for help. He's stubborn. I looked at Granddad. Then my sister. Then my mother, who taught me to keep receipts like they were prayers. I'm not asking, I said, my voice firm. I'm setting a boundary. Sabrina rolled her eyes. Oh my God. Therapy words. Grown-up words, I corrected. Here are the simple ones. No more using my name. No more touching my money. No more routing. No more household unless I live in it. Granddad nodded slowly, like a metronome. Sabrina, you'll repay every monthly amount diverted from Owen's share, he said. And you'll send him a written accounting of what you spent. We'll decide if any of it counts as family expenses. Spoiler, it doesn't. He turned to Mom. You are removed as coordinator. Effective immediately. Mom went white, like paint. You don't mean that. I do, he said. You forgot what the money was for. And what was it for, she snapped. For runway, he said, his eyes on her. Not for spectacle. Sabrina's voice got sharp. This is revenge, not fairness. I shook my head. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. The sentence sounded like a lock clicking into place. My hand finally stopped shaking. Granddad looked at me. Do you want the monthly still? Or the principal distribution? Or both? Paused until you decide. Pause, I said. I want to think like a person who isn't drowning. The room rearranged itself. Mom stood and left without slamming the door, because she knows Granddad hates that. Sabrina sent 3 frantic texts to someone, probably the person waiting for the wire that wasn't coming. Granddad put his hand on my shoulder, the way he does before he tightens a bolt. We'll make it right, he said. Not pretty. Right. Pretty has been our problem, I said. He smiled, just a little. There you are. The first 48 hours were loud. My phone was a metronome. Mom, you humiliated your sister in front of your grandfather. Sabrina, you could have come to me first. Mom, again, he's old. He doesn't understand how money moves now. Sabrina, you're ruining my business. Unknown number. We'd like to confirm cancellation of wire to Sabrina's Social LLC. Aunt Ruth, I always said your mother was too generous with her money. Cousin Mark, good for you. Don't tell anyone I said that. I muted everyone except Granddad, my boss, and the warehouse crew chat where we post pictures of cursed pallets. I took a long shower that did not make the math disappear. I put on the good socks. I went to work. The toilets in Building C were angry. Toilets do not care about legacies. It was a relief. At lunch, I met with a lawyer a friend recommended, Priya. She spoke in bullet points. I gave her a stack, statements, emails, the bank's call log, the screenshot of Sabrina's LLC, the household account, note with my name, as if that made it legal. This is simple and not, she said, flipping pages. Legally? Identity misuse, unauthorized transfer, breach of grantor intent. Practically? Family. I don't want a court, I said. I want a wall. We can build one, she said. A demand letter to repay diverted funds into your account. A new trust administrator. Fraud alerts. And a directive to the foundation. No coordinator except you and the Grantaire. Also, passwords. Change them everywhere. I did everything she said. New email, new bank, a credit freeze so aggressive it probably locked my high school yearbook. I took my name off Mom's streaming services that I'd somehow ended up paying for since 2020. I canceled an old card that kept getting charged for household Amazon because sometimes closure is freeing your wallet from a future you didn't sign up for. Granddad hired a forensic accountant, a person whose job is to be the word receipt in a suit. He sent us a spreadsheet that would make a saint swear. Every month since March 2019, $7,000 listed under O. King, routed to X4187. Notes, brand expenses, travel office. Total? I had to sit down. I won't write the number here, because that number is a character in this story, and I don't want to give it any more lines. Sabrina sent me an email with a PDF titled, Apportionment. It was 4 pages of justification. We paid Mom's HOA when she was short. We invested in my business, which benefits the family. Owen never asked. The last line, let's be adults and not make this ugly. I forwarded it to Priya. She wrote back, we're adults. That's why it's in writing. Then she sent Sabrina and Mom a letter with words like misappropriation, restitution, fiduciary duty, and my new favorite, cease. It wasn't rude. It was a wall with a door labeled pay. I braced for the storm. It came from the usual direction. Mom, you're taking food out of your sister's mouth. Me, she's been feeding from my plate for 5 years. Mom, you're ungrateful. Me, for what? Mom, for the family we gave you. Me, the family I gave you. Read. No reply. Sabrina tried a different tack. Let's talk without lawyers. We met at a coffee shop that sold drinks with extra adjectives. She wore a white blazer and sunglasses indoors, looking like someone who did not like bad lighting. She started with tears. I didn't steal, she sobbed. I allocated. You stole, I said, calm. You don't understand how building something works, she said. You should be proud. I put our name out there. Asterisk our asterisk name? I said. You mean my name? She wiped her eyes, switched to fury like a singer changing keys. You love being a victim, she spat. You could have asked for rent money anytime. I didn't want rent money, I said. I wanted my money. You're so small, she sneered. Maybe, I said. But small pays its own bills. She stood. This is a battle, she declared. No, I said. This is accounting. Granddad called that night. He sounded old, in a way I'm not used to. I should have watched it closer, he said, his voice tired. I thought I was helping. Instead, I lit a match and walked away. You were helping, I said. It just got repurposed. Your mother's out as coordinator, he said again, like he was reminding himself. I'm putting a professional in place. If you want monthly, it'll go straight to you. If you want the principal, we'll do it by the book. If you want neither, I won't be offended. I want offense, I said. Then I want to think. Good, he said. Because the only time money is evil is when it's a secret. The following week was a bumpy road that only stopped bumping because we finally pulled over. Sabrina's wire never went through. She posted a black and white story that said, some people don't like to see you win. Her followers sent her affirmations. She went live, crying about family betrayal. I didn't watch. A cousin sent me a screen recording with the caption, LOL. I ignored it. Mom tried one last grand gesture, a family summit at her house with a pot roast that tasted like the 90s. I brought Priya on Zoom. Mom didn't like that, but she kept it moving because she likes to host. Priya went over the numbers. We're asking for repayment of diverted monthly distributions to Owen's account. 30 days, she said. We're not asking for punitive damages. We're not filing a police report. We're not going to court if you comply. Sabrina laughed, without humor. You can't squeeze blood from a stone. Priya didn't blink. Good thing we're squeezing it for money. Mom tried tears. You're his sister, she told me as if I didn't know. I know, I said. That's why I'm not pressing charges. That's why I'm asking for a plan. That's why this isn't a scene. It's a line. We left with nothing signed and everything different. Anyway, 2 days later, a transfer hit my new account, labeled partial restitution. It was from Granddad. Not Sabrina. He texted, "She'll repay me. You're not my bill collector. You're my grandson." I cried on my kitchen floor for 10 minutes into a towel like a person in a movie who finally lets go of their jaw. Work got easier because I wasn't carrying 2 jobs in my head anymore. I still had 3 jobs on paper, but the weight had shifted. I said no to an extra shift, and my boss didn't fire me. I bought new boots because my old ones made my feet ache. I took a breath, and it didn't have numbers in it. There were still late-night texts. Still group chat hurricanes. Still relatives who thought gossip was a sport. But there was also a locker in my brain that had a door now. And it said mine. It's been 5 weeks. The professional administrator is in place. Emails come to me with my name on them, and they actually mean me. The monthly isn't automatic. I asked Granddad to pause it while I decide what kind of person I am when I'm not hustling to stand still. The principal sits where it's supposed to, behind a process, not under my sister's cursor. Sabrina and I exchange necessary texts about mom and holidays. Sometimes she fires a flare, "You made me look bad." I don't look at it. Mom sends me sunsets and articles about forgiveness, like coupons. I heart them. I don't click. I wrote 5 lines and taped them inside my kitchen cabinet, where the coffee lives. 1. I don't send money I can't afford never to see again. 2. I don't let household mean you can have my name. 3. I don't explain math to people who prefer magic. 4. I don't answer money questions by phone, email, or nothing. 5. I don't apologize for locks on doors that should have had locks all along. I read them out loud when I make eggs. It feels silly and strong in equal measures. Granddad came by the other day with a bag of bolts and a look. We fixed 3 wobbly chairs and 1 wobbly thing between us. He said, "I wanted you to have options, not obligations." I said I wanted that too. He put his hand on the table and tapped twice, the way he does when he's finished a job. "Good," he said. "If you want a moral, it's boring and it works. Don't pay for the story where you are the villain and the sponsor. Don't call a pipeline a misunderstanding. Don't let a banner that says family cover a receipts drawer. Build a fence. Keep a door. Use both. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure." I'm still in the studio above the nail salon. The bus still sighs. I still carry a tool bag. But when my phone buzzes at 9:14 p.m., my heart doesn't sprint. If the bank calls, it's my finger on the button. If the family calls, it goes to voicemail if the cabinet says so. I'm not the allowance. I'm not the sponsor. I'm the person who gets to decide what I fund, with money, with time, with silence. And for the first time in a long time, I'm just me. So, tell me, what would you have done in my place? Have you ever had to build a wall like this with your own family? I really want to hear your thoughts down in the comments.